All right, so are you ready to like really dive in?
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're going to be exploring this surprisingly complex world of A Man Called Ove.
Yeah.
The book that you asked us to unpack,
Mm.
you know,
Mm.
Ove.
Mm-hmm.
This guy who's got like a sob for a heart
Yeah.
and a rule book for a soul. We got your notes and some excerpts right here.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, Ove on the page is even grumpier than I imagined.
I think what's really striking is that Backman doesn't ease us into Ove's grumpiness at all. Like,
No.
it's just right there on page 1.
Yeah.
You see him inspecting that iPad box like it's personally offended him,
Right.
practically demanding a real computer.
Oh, yeah.
It's hilarious, but it also makes you wonder, like, what's driving this deep-seated suspicion of anything new?
Right. And it's not even just technology. He's got this whole mental ranking system.
Yes.
For his neighbors, right.
Yeah.
Judging their every move. Joggers are the worst offenders, obviously.
Obviously.
Ove sees them like prancing around in their fancy outfits, and he can't understand why they don't just walk like normal people.
Totally. I think that's part of the genius of Backman's writing, though. He uses these, like, small, everyday annoyances to hint at something much deeper.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about being grumpy.
Right.
It's about this need to control a world that feels chaotic to him.
Totally. And that's where the backstory comes in, right?
Yeah.
The book slowly reveals
Mm-hmm.
that Ove's grumpiness isn't just a personality quirk.
Right.
It's a shield. He's built it up
Yeah.
over a lifetime of loss and disappointment.
Exactly. Losing his parents at a young age.
Yeah.
Like Backman describes it, it's almost like Ove lost his compass in the world.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's Sanja.
Ah, Sanja.
Yeah.
Ove's beloved wife.
Yes.
The woman who could disarm him with just a laugh
Yeah.
and make him feel invincible just by folding her index finger into his palm. They were complete opposites.
Totally.
She was sunshine and color, and he was well-loved.
Yeah.
But their love was so clearly the bedrock of his world.
And it's her absence that really throws Ove's rigidity into sharp relief. It's almost as if he's trying to hold on to the order and routine that they established together. Like, that's the only way he knows how to keep her memory alive.
It makes you wonder if all that anger, all those rules, are really just his way of expressing a grief that he doesn't know how to process any other way.
That's a really insightful point. You know, a lot of readers find Ove's suicide attempts darkly funny.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Backman's doing something much more complex there.
Right.
He's not making light of suicide. He's showing how, for someone like Ove, who has lost so much and feels so out of sync with the modern world, death almost seems like a logical solution.
Yeah.
A final act of order in a life that feels increasingly chaotic.
And yet, every time Ove tries to orchestrate his exit life in all its messy glory, keeps pulling him back in.
Exactly. There's that faulty rope, the nosy neighbor, the stray cat that needs rescuing.
Yeah.
It's like Backman is saying that even in our darkest moments, even when we feel like we've given up, there's always something.
Yeah.
Some unexpected connection or responsibility that can remind us of our worth and give us a reason to keep going.
Like that stray cat.
Yeah.
Showing up just when Ove needs it most.
Yes.
Becoming this unlikely companion.
Right.
And forcing him to engage with the world outside his carefully constructed routines.
Yeah. What's fascinating to me is how the cat becomes a symbol of a need that Ove didn't even know he had.
Right.
He's so prickly and self-sufficient, but even he can't resist the pull of that furry little creature who needs him.
Yeah.
It's almost like Backman is saying that human connection is as essential as food and water.
Yeah.
Even for someone like Ove.
It makes you think about all the ways that we try to isolate ourselves, to build walls around our hearts, when really what we crave deep down is connection and belonging.
Absolutely. And that's where the community around Ove comes in. You got Parvana, the pregnant foreign woman, as Ove so delicately puts it.
Right.
And her family, who barge into his life with their chaotic energy and their constant need for his help. Then there's Jimmy, the overweight neighbor, Rune, and Anita, the ailing couple.
Right.
And all the others that make up the fabric of Ove's little world.
Right.
They're the ones who chip away at his gruff exterior, revealing that heart of gold beneath.
Yeah.
And they do it not by trying to change him,
Right.
but by simply needing him.
Yeah.
By giving him a reason to step outside of himself and to use his practical skills and that stubborn sense of right and wrong to make a difference in their lives.
It's in those acts of service, those seemingly mundane interactions, that Ove begins to rediscover his own worth.
Yeah.
He may grumble and complain every step of the way,
Oh, yeah.
but he bleeds radiators, He gives driving lessons in his precious Saab, only a manual, of course.
Of course.
And he even ends up caring for a pregnant cat and her litter of kittens.
He does.
It's almost like he's channeling all that pent-up grief and frustration into action, using his fix-it skills and his unwavering moral compass to create a sense of order, not just in his own life, but in the lives of those around him.
And speaking of like Ove's moral compass,
Yeah.
that's something that really intrigued me. You know, you marked this passage in your notes about Ove finding a wallet full of money as a child.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And his father makes him return it,
Right.
even though it means losing out on a small fortune.
Right.
It's a small moment, but I think it speaks volumes about the values that shape Ove's worldview.
That's so true. It's like that early experience just imprinted on him this deep sense of fairness and a belief that doing the right thing matters.
Yes.
Even when it's hard.
Yeah.
Even when no one is watching.
And you see that principle play out again and again throughout the book.
Right.
Whether he's confronting rule breakers in the neighborhood or challenging bureaucratic indifference, Ove's always got this unshakable belief in justice.
Right.
Remember his battles with the man in the white shirt?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He takes on the entire system armed with nothing but his meticulously kept records and his stubborn refusal to back down.
That scene where he finally explodes at the council meeting, accusing them of killing Rune with paperwork.
Oh my gosh.
Like all that pent-up frustration and grief finally boils over.
Yeah.
You realize that his fight for Rune isn't just about their shared history.
Right.
It's about Ove's deep-seated need to protect those who are vulnerable, to stand up for what's right, even when it means going against the grain.
And that brings us to another, crucial point.
Yeah.
The complex relationship between Ove and Rune.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned in your notes how their friendship, once so strong, fractured over something as trivial as car brands.
Right.
I found that so poignant. It made me wonder if their falling out wasn't really about cars at all, but about a deeper sense of loss and betrayal, a fear of change that both men struggled with.
That's a really interesting perspective.
Right.
You're right. It's not just about Saabs versus Volvos.
Right.
It's about two men who built their identities around tradition and stability.
Yeah.
And when that stability is threatened, they lash out at each other instead of confronting their own fears.
And yet, despite their differences, despite the years of animosity, there's still a deep bond between them.
Right.
When Rune becomes ill and the council threatens to move him into a care facility, Ove steps up, not just to help Rune, but to fight for his right to remain in his own home with his wife Anita. It's a beautiful example of how even the most fractured relationships can be mended through shared experience and a common purpose.
It's also a reminder that Ove's capacity for compassion runs deeper than his gruff exterior might suggest.
Right.
He may express it in unconventional ways, with angry outbursts and muttered complaints, but his actions speak louder than words. He's there for Rune, just like he's there for Parvana and her family.
Right.
Just like he's there for the stray cat and her kittens.
And that's what makes Ove's transformation so compelling.
Right.
He starts off as this isolated, curmudgeonly figure.
Right.
But through these acts of service, these small acts of kindness, he slowly reintegrates into the community he initially tried so hard to avoid.
Yeah.
He becomes the grumpy but reliable neighbor.
Right.
The one everyone turns to when they need a problem solved, a radiator bled, a cat rescued from a tree.
It's almost like Backman is suggesting that we all have an Ove inside of us.
Yeah.
That part of ourselves that wants to withdraw from the world, to build walls and cling to familiar routines. But it's in breaking down those walls and letting others into our lives that we truly discover our capacity for connection and find meaning in this messy tapestry of human experience.
That's beautifully put, and it ties into something you highlighted in your notes.
Yeah.
The recurring motif of cars in the book.
Right.
You noted how Ove's love for Saabs, his insistence on driving only manuals, is more than just a quirky personality trait.
Yeah.
What do you think Backman is trying to convey through that detail?
I think it goes back to that theme of control and resistance to change. Ove Saabs represent a simpler time, a world where things were well-made, dependable, and predictable.
Right.
They're his way of clinging to a past that feels increasingly out of reach in the modern world.
I think you're onto something there. It's like his Saabs are his sanctuary.
Yeah.
His shield against a world that feels chaotic and unpredictable. He can control them, he understands them, and they never let him down.
Right.
And that control, that sense of mastery is something he desperately craves in other areas of his life.
But then there's that scene where he finally relents and agrees to teach Parvana to drive.
Yeah.
Not just drive any car, but his precious manual Saab.
Right.
It's a small gesture, but it's a huge step for Ove.
Yeah.
He's letting someone else into his world, sharing something he holds dear, and acknowledging that maybe, just maybe, some things are worth letting go of in order to connect with others.
That's such a powerful moment. It's like he's finally realizing that tradition and connection aren't mutually exclusive.
Right.
That letting go of the past doesn't mean erasing it.
Right.
But rather finding new ways to honor it and pass it on to future generations.
Yeah.
And who better to entrust that legacy to than Parvana?
Right.
The woman who in many ways embodies the change and diversity that Ovan initially feared.
It's almost like Backman is suggesting that the key to navigating a world that's constantly evolving is not to resist change, but to find ways to adapt and embrace it. To find the common ground that connects us across generations and cultures.
And perhaps to find a little humor in the process. I mean, who can forget the image of Ovan, the ultimate curmudgeon, trying to explain the intricacies of a clutch to a pregnant woman who barely speaks his language.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even in the midst of profound change and loss, there's always room for laughter. Right.
For those small moments of joy that make life worth living.
And those moments of joy, those unexpected connections, are what ultimately lead to a place of peace and acceptance.
Yeah.
Remember, the book begins with Ove's repeated attempts to end his life, driven by a profound sense of loneliness and despair.
It's heartbreaking to witness those attempts, knowing how much pain and grief he's carrying.
Yeah.
But it's even more remarkable to see how, through his interactions with his neighbors, he gradually finds a reason to keep living, to find meaning in the mundane, and to connect with others in ways he never thought possible.
And that's the real beauty of this book, isn't it? It doesn't shy away from the darkness, from the very real pain of loss and grief, and feeling out of sync with the world. But it also shows how even the most hardened heart can be softened by human connection, by allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, and to accept help from others. Exactly. Ove spends so much of the book trying to control everything, to impose order on a world that feels increasingly chaotic. But it's in those moments when he lets go, when he allows himself to be surprised by kindness and generosity, that he truly begins to heal and to find peace.
It's like that scene where he receives a birthday party invitation from his young neighbor.
Oh, yeah.
She specifically asks for an iPad.
Yeah.
A device that earlier in the book, Ove viewed with utter disdain.
Right.
I found that detail so incredibly moving.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's such a subtle but powerful way of showing how Ove has evolved. He's finally letting go of his rigid adherence to the past, acknowledging that even he can adapt and embrace new things, especially when it comes to connecting with those he cares about.
And that willingness to adapt, to open himself up to new experiences and relationships, is what ultimately allows Ove to die peacefully surrounded by the community he has perhaps unknowingly cultivated.
His death, when it finally comes, is not a tragic end. It's a peaceful transition. He dies in his sleep, having made peace with his past, found purpose in the present, and left behind a legacy of kindness and connection that continues to ripple through his community.
You mentioned in your notes how that final scene where Parvana discovers Ove's body really resonated with you. What was it about that moment that struck you?
It's the way that Backman manages to blend humor and pathos so perfectly.
Right.
Parvana, in her grief, bursts into laughter, remembering Ove's grumpy demeanor and his utter inability to follow instructions even in death.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful reminder that even in the face of loss, life goes on, and that love and laughter can coexist with sorrow.
And it's that laughter, that enduring spirit of resilience and connection that Backman leaves us with. A Man Called Ove is more than just a heartwarming story about a grumpy old man who learns to love his neighbors. It's a celebration of the complexities of human nature, the unexpected bonds that can form between seemingly disparate individuals, and the transformative power of community.
It's a reminder that we all have something to offer the world, even those of us who, like Ove, might prefer to keep to ourselves. It's a challenge to step outside our comfort zones, to reach out to those around us, and to find the courage to be vulnerable, even when it feels scary or uncertain.
It's a book that asks us to look beyond the surface, to see the humanity in those who might seem different from us, and to recognize that even the grumpiest among us have stories worth hearing and love to give.
So, dear listener, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of a man called Ove, what resonated most with you? What will you take away from this story? And how might it inspire you to connect with your own community in new and meaningful ways? We'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections in the comments below.
And until next time, keep diving deep. Keep seeking connection. And remember, even the grumpiest among us have stories worth hearing.